to play full 12 minutes first quarter. Clearly, you kind of had it going both with the assists and your shot. What I don't know. What did you see there go in that opening quarter for yourself?
Just got into a groove, really. Had an assignment tonight. I had Kawhi and really tried to do my best to be as connected with him the whole game. But, I didn't really want him to start off. Seeing the basket go in easily and really just try to be aggressive defensively and then offensively do the same thing, especially when with Giannis and Khris out. I'm really just trying to get everybody involved and try to attack the basket.
Does it feel at this point that I don't know if this is how to phrase this the right way, but it looked like you were kind of getting into your groove with the team before you were in the protocol. And obviously you're working your way back after it. Are you to that point? Like, do you feel like you're in the throes of the season at this point? Is that fair to say? Or are you still kind of working through some?
I think I'm still working. I feel like those two Cleveland games were like, they felt really like they just distinct in my mind. They felt really good. And the lineups we had, I felt like we were all clicking, not even just myself. And then me kind of doing COVID protocol threw a wrench in it. But again, I feel like this is kind of that point, especially on this road trip, to try to get back to that consistency. Just being consistent throughout games, not even for myself, but if it's our lineups and who we're playing with and down the stretch things that we go to or kind of go-tos. I feel like this is going to be a good test of that.
Eric, name?
What did you see on the defensive glass tonight? You guys have been so good at that all year long, and tonight you guys gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds.
I was terrible, personally. I definitely got to do better. I think Kawhi got some big ones, especially toward the end, where you get rebounds like that. It's just a momentum shift. You guarding for 23 minutes or 23 seconds on the shot clock, and they get extra shots. It's definitely deflated. So as a team and me personally, I definitely have to do better.
And then with Kawhi, I mean, he gets 23 points. I think it was on 21 shots tonight, which I would assume you'd probably feel pretty okay with. Just what do you think of the job you did on Kawhi?
I got to go back and look. There's sometimes where I felt like he was too comfortable. There's sometimes where I felt like great team defense, and we had him up in the air and he had to make some passes out. Bad play down the stretch where I went for the steal and they called the foul. Again, I didn't know he took 21 shots, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Zora Stevenson.
Jrue, for the defense as a whole, previously Coach and Khris just felt like you guys weren't good on the defensive end, but do you think, I'm interested to know what you think, do you think the Clippers were just knocking down contested shots? Was there a balance? What did you see just team defense as a whole?
I mean, they were knocking down shots, but I think we kind of helped them with that where, again, offensive rebounds and those kick out threes, those are wide open threes. We love that. That's why we go. That's why we crush offensive boards. And then I just think too many guys got into the paint tonight. And when you get into the paint and break down somebody's defense, a lot of options happen. A lot of options occur. So maybe a little bit of one-on-one defense we got to be a little better at, as well as team defense, so that guys don't get into the paint. But I think most of all, it was rebounding and how deflating that is to a team.
When you were asked about rebounding, you were like, yeah, that was me. I could have been better. And I've noticed just this season, you hold yourself accountable and you're not afraid to say, hey, like that was me. I need to be better. Is that a skill that you've always had? Is that something you developed as a pro? Where does that comfortability with just saying, hey, I need to be better come from?
I think a little bit of growing up, just growing up and learning. For me, first, you just kind of have to look in the mirror, see what you could have done to help the team. And usually, like when you place blame on somebody first, for one, if you're having a conversation, that doesn't really go over well. But especially like, I'm getting deep now, right? Like in relationships, like you have to look at yourself first. So it's the same thing on the court. You have to look at yourself, see what you did, and just kind of take accountability. I think from there, other people can do the same. I feel like it's that kind of trickles down that way. So yeah, really just taking accountability for yourself and then kind of going from there.
Thanks.
Kane Pittman.
Hey, Jrue, you mentioned consistency a couple of times so far in this call. And I'm just wondering whether this season and the way the playoffs are really going to come up quickly. I think there's 25 games or so left. As you guys have tried to figure this out, you've had interruptions, certainly you personally. Is there a point where you guys get together or there is a rising sense of urgency to like, okay, now the run really begins towards the postseason here? Does that come into calculations?
Yeah, honestly, I think it kind of starts now, especially being on this road trip. This road trip is a tough one, and I feel like it's a way that we can get into a group and really see what we're made of. We got the Lakers, we got Portland, we got Dallas, we got Sacramento. We got a lot of teams with a lot of good players, and we're on the road. We're at their place. So I think for us to be a good team, we are going to have to be able to win games on the road in crazy situations in weird circumstances. So again, I'm excited about it. You know, this is what we play for.
All right, thanks, Jrue.
Okay.
You guys have always been so good on the defensive glass under Bud. Tonight, you gave a bunch of offensive rebounds. Just what did you see on that end, just not cleaning up the glass?
They were just aggressors all night. You know, they're crashing the boards from every angle. Every guy seemed light. So, yeah, it was just a bad night for us on the glass and on the defensive side also.
And then when they got it going from the three-point line in the third quarter, just what did you feel like you guys did or maybe even didn't do to let them get going?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, on the defensive side, we just weren't aggressive at all. They were getting all in the paint, making a scramble once again. It was just, you know, I think too easy for them in every type of action. Wide post ups, the double drags, just the, you know, driving kicks. They're just getting wide open looks on everything. So it seemed like.
Jim Ozarski.
Khris, obviously, first time we've seen you. Did the hip bother you at all today, or was that fine for you?
Nah, no hip problems at all.
Okay. You know, I know. I think it was way back early in the year, the New Orleans game, where you guys as starters came back from whatever it was, 20 plus down. The last two times you've been out, you know, Bud's made a decision to pull you guys off the court. What is that? I guess as a competitor, when that happens a couple games in a row, do you chalk it up to it's the game and that's what happens, or is that going to kind of stick in your craw overnight into the off day?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You definitely think about it, but in this league, especially during the regular season, you have to find a way to get it. You know, just move on from it, forget about it, think about it overnight, but try to get ready for the next game as best as you can. I mean, there's too many games to get stuff on one game in the regular season. But the way we played tonight is it's not going to get it done. Like you said, the past couple of nights that we went out there as starters, we got pulled off the court, being down, not up. So definitely as competitors, you know, it definitely, you know, eats at you a little bit or a lot. But at the same time, we have to find a way to, you know, still think about it, learn from it, but also move on.
Jrue has said, I guess maybe it was a week or so ago, like he still kind of feels a little bit he's getting his lungs. He's like, maybe you guys don't see it, but occasionally he has to kind of go through that. But aside from that, I guess, what have you seen from him now as he's sort of getting back to full speed, since it kind of felt like he was just getting there with you guys maybe, you know, before he had gone out? What are you seeing from him kind of running things with all of you?
We all like what we see. Got it going in the first quarter. I think we got to do a better job of just trying to keep him involved, keep him aggressive. But you know, that playing the fourth quarter, pretty much sums it up. He's a guy that can score, that can defend, and also get everybody involved. So he's a guy that can really do it all out there on the court for us at the point guard position, which you really don't see as much.
Zora Stevenson.
Khris, you talked about the importance of moving on when throughout a season you all play so many games, right? Is that something that you understood maybe in your first couple of years in the league? Or is that something you kind of have to evolve into, understanding like, hey, we got to move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, part of being a professional here, not letting one game go into the next. So I definitely did learn that. My first couple of years in the league is where, you lose one game after winning 5 in a row, and like you're in a bad attitude or bad mood for, 2 or 3 days, and in the process of that, you're playing the next night or the night after next, and you still think about that last game. I definitely learned how, just to, leave it at that night or that day, don't let it carry me into the next day or the next game.
All right, thanks, Chris.
So late in the third quarter, 76-73, you guys kind of come back, and that's when really the 3-ball started going in at the end of the third, and it obviously carried into the fourth. What I guess, what do you make of that? Was it just a matter of their shots finally going in, or were there some cracks maybe in the rotations and the closeouts?
Well, I mean, they shot it at a really high clip. It felt like they shot it at a pretty high clip the whole game, but I think probably even more so in the period that you described or you're talking about, and just didn't think we guarded very well. Particularly late. Just too much penetration. They did a good job of getting inside of us, and then they played with the pass, and they made a lot of shots, but they were creating a lot of good looks from. I think we got to be better defensively.
How do you view when a team has 25 second chance points, or they kind of have such a margin on the rebounding? Is that I guess, what do you attribute to that to? Is that a function of spacing, of hustle, or a bit of luck? How do you kind of view that sort of skewed stat line, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, their effort on the offensive boards was a big factor. Inability to guard the 3-point line and inability to rebound. And I think a lot of that just comes from not doing a better job of guarding just individually. So, I think it was just wasn't a good enough effort for us defensively, and give them credit. They played well. They created some of the problems for us, and but we got to be significantly better.
Zora Stevenson.
Coach, in a game where you're playing a team that's kind of hitting it from the outside and getting opportunities inside, do you feel like that puts more pressure on the offense to kind of go bucket for bucket, or do you still kind of put it on the defense and challenge the guys to kind of step up on that end? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, when you're not getting stops, it's definitely, you're not allowed to get out in your transition game. A lot of things are not going to go your way if you're not as good as you need to be defensively.
And then Mamadi got in earlier than normal. What went into that decision? Was that because certain people are out, or did he earn that time a different way? What was your thought process there?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's kind of our fourth big right now. Without Bobby and without PJ. So it's good to get him in early, get him to play. I thought he had some good stretches, some good possessions. So I think he was it's just good to see him out there and playing in a game.
Eric Name.
I know it's always the plan for Brook to kind of battle against the opposing center and then have guys clean up those defensive boards. Just what do you see from that aspect? I know Mann got a couple, Kawhi I think had 4, Batum got a couple. Just what do you see kind of on that cleanup of the offensive or the defensive class, excuse me?
Yeah, we didn't get it done. We'll have to look at the tape, and I think just all of us got to coach better, got to play better, rebound better, guard the ball better, just do everything better.
Obviously, last game you guys played that 2-3 a lot. You guys went to that again in the third quarter. What do you think of it tonight, and what do you think you guys can do better out of it going forward?
Yeah, I thought there was some good, a couple good possessions, and it was during one of those stretches where they were hitting threes, and so they hit a couple threes against it. But overall, I think we'll look at the film. I think there's positives that we can take from it. We were struggling to get stops in the man-to-man. Reggie Jackson had a stretch there in the third quarter, where we just felt like we couldn't get a stop. So I thought the zone helped some, but at the same time, they were able to knock down some open threes and get some looks. And it wasn't enough to kind of change the momentum or something we could stay in.
Kane Pittman.
Hey, Bud, I know you mentioned the perimeter defense in terms of staying in front of men and in their guards in particular, but you've referenced that a few times through the season as perhaps something you wanted to work on. So I'm just wondering, how do you diagnose where that issue comes from, or what are you seeing in a broader sense with the perimeter defense?
Yeah, I actually think we've been doing well. We've made progress there. Tonight, unfortunately, it's never a straight line of improvement. There's going to be nights when you're not as good as you need to be, and it's certainly an area that we've talked about. But I think we've actually been doing a significantly better job, and tonight was not one of those nights. And we've got to learn from it and be better from it.
Thanks, Bud.
All right, thank you, guys.